Let's talk about what actually happens once you get hypnotized. So, the initial reaction, by the way, I've successfully hypnotized thousands of people at this point. Everybody's initial reaction to hypnosis is different. Imagine your reaction to a session of therapy. Everybody's reaction to therapy is different. Sometimes when people come out of hypnosis sessions, and it would be the people you don't expect, they're whatever their reaction is, it's on a spectrum from being overly, incredibly excited and emotional to being really, really, really calm, right? And somewhere in between. But usually it's one of those two things. And you never really know who it's going to come from, which is what I've learned. But the key thing is that's just the initial reaction, right? So hypnosis is really about, and people get this part confused. They think that hypnosis is this, on its own, it's a permanent change. And oftentimes it is, but I'll give you the full context here. It's a really, really potent way of how I like to describe it is calibrating your brain on who you want to be, calibrating your brain and your body literally on the person you're trying to become. Meaning you know how they say you have to feel like the person, you have to see through that person's lens, speak like that person, act, behave like that person in order to become that person. So a lot of people don't know what that person is. A lot of people don't know what that feels like. They don't know what it feels like to be confident. They don't know what it feels like to give themselves permission to be the best version of themselves. So hypnosis brings you into that state, at least for that duration, so that your brain, literally your brain, and the subconscious part of your brain understands what that feels like. Therefore, it allows you now, through unconscious processes, meaning you aren't aware of it or you don't force it, it allows your brain to naturally filter out people, places, things, and experiences that are out of alignment with that feeling that you are now calibrated with and accustomed to, right? So this still takes work, right? This still takes a level of responsibility and the act of declaring who you want to be, right? And recommitting to that vision every day. So, and I tell people all the time, listen, I do not sell get rich quick schemes. Like, I'm very clear and upfront about the fact that the onus is still on you to carry yourself in a certain way. But the hypnotherapy part and the hypnosis part is about shortening that gap, because in order, if to become who you need to be in order to get the things you want, you have to know who that person is, and you have to know how they think, behave, act, speak, and feel like. What they feel like, right? Literally on a cellular level, right? And we all know that if we were to think of certain things, like if we think of traumatic events, it releases chemicals into the body, flooding our system with things like adrenaline and a bunch of other chemicals, and we actually feel that same level of tension, the heart rate, the stress, just by thinking about the experience. The exact same is the case with hypnosis and hypnotherapy. It's a guided way. It's a way of guiding you into the opposite of trauma. Let's call it positive trauma, right? Guiding you into what it truly feels like, at least for that duration of the session, to be the best version of yourself. And from there, your subconscious mind, which acts like the filter anyway, regardless of if you get hypnotized or not, it acts as a filter to reinforce what you truly believe about yourself. And through a session of hypnosis and hypnotherapy, you now truly believe that this is what is possible for you, and this is who you are, that this is your true destiny, right? And that's why it's able to shorten the gap between that being in your head and it actually being your reality, you actually becoming that person, because you know what you're going for. It's like having a GPS to your destination and feeling like you've been there before. Like, people who come out of hypnosis feel like they've been there before. They feel like they've been that person before. And so, and I always tell my clients and people I speak to and the content I put out, I'm like, the outcomes still take time. The results still take time, but you can accelerate that process by being who you need to be, and you can become that person overnight. Meaning, and to become a person means to adopt the beliefs, adopt the way of thinking, adopt the manner in which you speak, do, and act. But that doesn't mean you can't go back and revert, right? It now means, it just means that you are calibrated. And for so many people, for the disciplined and the devoted people, that's all they need to be successful. They just need to know what it feels like. They just need to know what it looks like. They just need to know what it tastes like. And then you set them free. You let them run free, and they'll be successful no matter what. That's what hypnosis and hypnotherapy is all about. I wish someone had explained it to me that way. But what I do not subscribe to is the folks out there, the hypnotists, who say they can hypnotize you to become a millionaire. I mean, maybe they can. This is powerful work, right? But I say that to say they don't make it clear that the results still take time. We live in a 3-dimensional world. Time is a thing. Or 4-dimensional world. Time is a thing, right? But that is what actually happens when you get hypnotized. That's what actually happens. And so sometimes I get emails or messages from clients that say, listen, I still feel anxious, or I still feel a lack of confidence. I'm like, well, yes, we're human. So do I. Right? But I'm also very clear before any work is being done, where it's like, listen, I'll show you what it feels like to not feel that, and to show you how to get back there every single time. But the onus is still on you to get back there. You are the master of your own mind, right? So the reason why, and this might be a separate video, but the reason why successful people, wealthy people, rich people are hiring hypnotists and hypnotherapists, it's because they understand the power of the mind. They understand how important it is to take care of their own mind. And hypnotherapy, it forms new grooves in your mind. Grooves, right? Grooves for thought patterns, right? You will a lot more quickly become used to and accustomed to taking these grooves, taking these routes of thought, right? And you start speaking differently. But the onus is still on you to reaffirm these things. Can't really say much more than that, so I'm going to end the video here, but appreciate you guys tuning in. If you've watched until this point, let me know your thoughts and comments and questions in the comments. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.